Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedoms.
7 days.
The noes prevail. House Bill 1392.
Hey, Representative Pearson. No, sir. No, sir.
Don't touch him. Do your not touch him. Let him go. Do not touch him. Do not touch him.
Don't you ever come out to me and my family.
My farmer, you stop.
But don't you ever
My farmer.
Yeah. Take care of him, Justin. Come on. Justin, it's not Justin. Oh. Come on, Justin. You're okay.
We love you. We love you, Justin.
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. And the fact is, your average, everyday, white supremacist legislator, the knuckle-dragging, mountain-dwelling idiots that they are, born into money so they think that they hit a home run, has no idea their own white supremacy is destroying them. They're gonna not just lose, they're going to lose in horrific and unsavory ways. And the reason why this is happening is because of fundamental misunderstanding of the civil rights laws, like the Voting Rights Act and the anti-segregation laws. A racist, knuckle-dragging, pedophile-worshipping, idiot Republican MAGA sycophant believes that the only thing they needed to do since those laws were made was to get rid of them and everything will be back to normal. The Neanderthal, the knuckle-dragging, white supremacist idiot fool born into money, thinking that he hit a home run, that guy believes, like this says, that the foundational role of civil rights and due process was to protect the individuals from the state. And that, YouTube, is where the fundamental misunderstanding of these rights, these laws, these things that we fought for that have been put in place, the fundamental misunderstanding of who they're there to protect is this. They're not there to protect us from the state. They're there to protect the state from us after we've had these rights and fought for these rights. You may not understand that. Let's look to history. Read this. Limiting access to rights is highly dangerous for the powerful. It breeds instability, erodes the rule of law, and ultimately removes nonviolent outlets for grievances by stripping away protections for the vulnerable. The powerful dismantle the very democratic framework that maintained their own long-term security and legitimacy, and both of those will be covered in this here video. Now let's start with security.
All this, I know every member in this committee's been here this year working. During committee, during session, voting on bills.
Yes, sir.
And I know you may have some things going on, but you have not. So I don't think it's fair for you to come in front of this committee and lecture us on hard work and convictions and hard work for our committee. So and I understand where you're at and what you're doing and why, but at the end of the day, we've been here working. We've been on the House floor voting on bills. We've taken the tough questions. We've taken the tough votes. Yeah. And we're doing so. So I don't think it's fair for you to come here and lecture this committee on hard work when we've been up here doing the hard work.
Thank you, Chair Farmer, for your comments. They incense me. They make me very, very angry. Very angry. Not just because of the lack of regard, but the disrespect and the same denigrating tone that you used on the State House floor when the vote to expel me happened. It's disrespectful. It's unbecoming, and it's beneath the standard of a person who's supposed to represent in the Tennessee House of Representatives. It is a pathetic excuse for you to not answer the question of why we are doing nothing about the gun violence epidemic than to personally attack me. But let me explain to you what I have been doing, Representative, since you asked. My brother, Temperance Darnell Pearson, one of the loves of my life, passed away from gun suicide on December 1st of 2024. And since that happened, it shattered my family like gun violence has shattered so many families. Shattered my nephew's lives, my mother, my father, my other brothers who are remaining. I buried my brother. I planned for his entire funeral. My fiance made his obituary. I made sure that he was taken care of, even in death. That's what I've been doing. But also, not just that, I went to all of my nephew's schools. I met with their principals and their teachers to ensure that they are okay. I gave them and made sure that they had grief counseling and that they're seeing a psychiatrist. That's what I've been doing. And while you're talking about hard work, you need to realize that our job is not just in this state house with these marble floors. Our jobs are on the streets and in the communities that we serve. And so while you've been here passing bills that have been hurting transgender children, while you've been here passing bills that have been hurting the poor, hurting the marginalized, hurting the disenfranchised, while you've been here passing bills that have not ended poverty, while you've been here passing bills that have not helped people who need Medicaid expansion, while you've been here doing the hard work of making sure that our state is not the state that it can be, because you have decided.
Representative Pearson.
Reality of our situation is only to be.
Representative Pearson.
While you've been here doing that, I've been in my community.
Representative Pearson.
Meeting with young people, going to school,
Representative Pearson.
That's what I've been doing. Hard work doesn't just happen. Witness legislation that happens.
Representative Pearson.
And if you will, Chairman, just one more minute, because Chairman Grover seems to think that he somehow
Representative Pearson.
seems to understand my life better than I do. You need to understand that hard work isn't just sitting there and shutting up and passing a bill. It's doing the hard work of justice and love and mercy.
Okay.
And the marginalized, and it's taking your
All right.
and your pain and your heartache, and it's standing in front of people who you know may not like you, standing in front of people who you know will disrespect you, people who you know will talk down to you, and saying in the honor of people like my brother, in the honor of people who have died from gun violence, in the honor of people who have died from suicide, we need to pass better laws,
Representative Pearson,
and fight for a state where everybody is able to live more freely from the pain of gun violence that me and my family are experiencing. That's what you need to think about, Chairman Paul. Come on. And if you can't think that, learn to shut up.
all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Learn to shut up.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Prevail, House Bill 1392.
Hey, Representative Pearson, no, sir. No, sir. No.
Don't touch him. Do not touch him. Do not touch him. Do not touch him.
Well, now, Mr. White Supremacist, knuckle-dragging, mountain-dwelling lawmaker of Tennessee, it's not so safe anymore now, is it? Huh? That got a little spicier than you thought it was going to get when you started talking. Didn't it? Ouch. It wasn't just the powerful words. This is a young man that normally would have just done what he needed to do in Congress. He's now going to be in an emotional state that is uncontrollable. This man, this grown man, an intelligent man, is now going to point at you in your face and walk up to you, because those laws, the civil rights that we had, were not to protect him from the state. They're to protect you, you smug fucking white guy sitting in a seat while stripping the rights away from black people and looking at them in their eye with contempt as if you deserve it somehow because your grandpappy told you so. Yeah, what you didn't understand was you were protected with those laws. The only reason why you have security, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, which you're now finding out. The only reason why you have security, Texas, is because there is a democratic framework in which people have signed the social contract that keeps it that way. But what we're seeing, YouTube, what we're seeing is not sporadic and independent black legislators coming out, pointing at people in their face, dealing with trauma that they've had to deal with in their own lives because of laws passed for the past 50 years. We're dealing with a rising up, an uprising, if you will. Watch this.
Shame. You need to have shame. History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. It is horrific for what you have.
Jesus, get off of him.
It's horrific for what you have done. Sir, you should all be ashamed. America will rise up against you.
Whoa, sir, this is my first one. I'm sorry, you can't just wait.
As the chair has exhibited throughout this hearing, the purpose of today is to hear your testimony. When individuals fail to maintain order or decorum, it's disrespectful to the other individuals that are here.
Oh, and as they throw him to the ground, more people become activated. That's the purpose of the protest. The idea was you have a choice. You can either obey the social construct. You can either have the democratic process by which grievances can be dealt with, or violence is next. And it's not a threat, it's a historical fact. Let's go back. It says here that when the powerful use force to bypass rights, they set a precedent that power, not the law, dictates outcomes. You see, this creates a volatile environment where anyone, including the powerful, can easily become the next target of unchecked force. Ding! That same guy who pointed in your face, and the other guy in Texas who got thrown out 6 months before that would have been regular congressmen sitting in their seat talking about and debating law, debating statutes, and trying to come up with compromise. Unfortunately, when you've taken that away from them, and the reason why it's worse now, because of your ignorance and your for some reason, abusive nature since Christopher Columbus. You think when they're most downtrodden is when you can beat them up the most, not understanding the entirety of human history and how it has always failed. It's only when people are comforted, it's only when people have the safety valve, when the pressure isn't high, that they will sit down and commune with you. Watch this.
What the Supreme Court just did. And it's really a devastating reality.
Yeah, you know, I actually feel for the American people in terms of their outrage meter. Like, if you're going to be outraged right now, what are you going to be outraged about? You're going to be outraged about inflation. You'll be outraged about foreign wars. You're going to be outraged about people being able to pay for pardons. You're going to be outraged about $1 billion for a ballroom. You're going to be outraged by the brown people that you share your communities with being kidnapped and sent to places in Latin America. Where are you going to place the outrage? If there's one thing that Trump is good at, he is good at giving you so much to where you just need a break, to where you go, you know what, tonight I'm playing a video game. The reason why this is sticking with me, it all sticks with me. I mean, we do this for a living, so we're wearing a lot of this pain and trying to translate it to other people and tell them how they can be involved. This is sticking with me because this is fundamental. This is slavery. This is robbing people of political power, of a political voice. This is making Republican lawmakers in the South kings and queens. This is in perpetuity relegating people to second-class citizens, right? This is what we thought we could at least agree on. Like, at least you have to be cute with the discrimination. This is overt. Yeah. And so the outrage to me is probably going to come when people see the reaction from Black America to having their rights snatched. And just like we stopped society before, just like Martin Luther King Jr., the Santa Claus figure that America has made him into, said, hey, we're going to stop traffic. We're going to stop commerce. We're going to stop the way things functions. We're going to do it again. And I'm not in any way saying that with any trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying we're not standing for this.
2 points you need to understand: white people and legislative power. White supremacists with legislative power is, one, we're not standing for it anymore. This is just a normal human trait. This is reflective. This is reflexive. No one would. The difference is before, when you had the historical sociological power that you had, that you're pining for again, you no longer have. That has been won already. No matter how many laws you get rid of, there are now less white people who believe like you do. As a matter of fact, as you lose your birth rate, you have less white people, period. And the mere fact that you came up with this whole race idea, that's also your fault. Humans are humans. If you didn't have an issue, we'd all just be different shades of brown like we are. But you started that so you could subjugate. I got more videos about that coming. More importantly, here's the second thing that he said. You see, there is an atrocity a day. You've elected someone who has delivered to you an atrocity a day with his absolute buffoonery, with his disgusting sociopathic way of life. You have delivered, thanks to voting for a dilapidated, deteriorating pile of orange skin cells attached to a pea bag with the lowest IQ in presidential history, an environment that's already ready to blow, an environment in which even the white racists can't afford gas, and their willingness to follow you into this charge of the Confederacy that you're trying to rebuild is sorely diminished. That's why you see what you see. Now, that's the security part. I also told you we were going to get into the legitimacy part, and this is even more ridiculously stupid of you when you don't understand why legitimacy in the social contract works. Let's read some more. When government or institutions intentionally restrict human rights, they undermine their own foundational legitimacy. Studies and human rights assessments routinely show that shrinking civic spaces lead to a decline in trust and long-term social decay. Your legitimacy is innately tied to your security. At this point, it's not going to end well for you. Talking to the people, the white supremacists, the Seven Mountains dreamers out there that have all of their daddy's money and have been sipping on mint and juleps, waiting for the day that they can enslave black people again, because that's what they're waiting for. What you don't understand is those rights were there for you. And YouTube, I want you to feel the joy of that knowledge, of understanding that. I don't have to promote violence. I don't have to. I don't have to say, go out there with a gun and shoot somebody. No, don't do that. I'm going to promote that you don't do that. There are other ways and much more community-based ways. I'll be giving a class on that with my Native American friends Wednesday. On the other hand, I also don't have to push you to do that because it's inevitable. That's why I love it. It's inevitable, like burning warehouses when capitalism has run awry. It's inevitable, like Luigi, when healthcare has failed so many. Welcome to the special hierarchy that you've built. White Republican, knuckle-dragging, infantile, foolish, low IQ bastards. It seems like I'm diabolically laughing, but YouTube, if you're not that person in power, you too should be smiling and laughing. We need to be organizing and marching and fighting. And if you're strong enough and smart enough and quiet enough, maybe you too can ask to join Spec Ops, where we help in different ways. Or you could be giving money to special operations so that we can do things that others won't. But the more important point about this is we now know that whatever you put into law doesn't mean anything. And your attempts to control the human nature of people who were already stronger than you, that's why you brought us here as slaves, who were already smarter than you, that's why we built the pyramids, and that were already cleaner than you, that's why everywhere you go, you die of disease. You are failing to learn the lesson. White supremacists, rather than join in with the rest of the human race, you have now sprinkled this disease of white supremacy all over the world. And as they see the monster that has become, the white people who will become non-acting white people, which is the best phrase I've heard all year. Whatever you want to call yourself, I know you're out there. Most of you watch this channel. And you don't have any problem with what I'm saying because you too understand the difference between a white supremacist and the fake idea of race in the first place, and the person who wishes to perpetuate it for their own comfort, and how stupid they have been in neglecting the social contract. The black people out here, we're not having it. But the mere fact that we have alliances that now also will way outnumber what they were in the 60s like this.
My name is Lindsay Garcia. You may not know me today, but I hope by the time that I'm finished, you will remember how much of a problem I can become for each and every one of you. You have ignored the voices of lawyers, judges, advocates like myself and Mr. Duncan himself, and I've watched you ignore the will of tens of thousands of voters in New Orleans. People far more patient than me, people with far more measurement than myself, and I need you to understand this. If I am the one standing here now, it is because every other reasonable voice has already been dismissed. We saw a man who was wrongfully convicted, who lost nearly 30 years of his life, who used the law, your law, to prove his innocence. And instead of respecting that outcome, you are enabling someone to try to eliminate the very office he was elected to hold. Do not mistake what this looks like, because it does not look like efficiency. It looks like the retaliation that it is. And I'm going to shift, because part of this message isn't even for any of you here. It's for the people in Louisiana who are going to be watching this message. Do not be discouraged. Do not lose hope. Do not allow them to convince yourself that your voice does not matter, because the very existence of this legislation here before you proved that it does, because you spoke, and now they are trying to silence you. So I need you to fight like everything that you love is on the line, and fight like the tree of liberty is on fire, because I guarantee you it very much is. To this committee and to every member of the legislature, hear me clearly. I came to remind you all that every single seat in this body is up for re-election, and to understand it clearly, you're not just voting on the bill, you're defining yourself for history and posterity, and the world will be watching. I will come back with the same righteous indignation that has always risen when power like this forgets who it serves, and I will use every avenue at my disposal to flip all of your seats like Jesus flipped the tables at the temple, and that is a promise, not a threat.
Oh, it's going to be bad. I don't have to tell anyone to do what will be inevitable. When you take away the legal recourse, violence becomes the recourse. Force becomes the only option. And you have left people who would have been decent and normalizing your way of life, normalizing your democracy, your only construct of power that you had. That was you were being saved by these rights and these laws that kept up your power as you watched them die away because of your greed and stupidness. Tennessee, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, Florida, now Georgia, white Republican, GOP, MAGA sycophants, you who stay on your knees for an orange predator. What you've unleashed, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be devastating in its consequence and its violence. And on the other hand, it'll be allied and buttressed by what we've all learned in the civil rights movement and what we've gained since then with other people who aren't diabolically racist. This will only end in failure. Buoy yourself with that, YouTube. I will see you guys for June 28th through July 4th in D.C. Start planning now. Start planning now, because it's going to be awesome. It's going to be Robbie Road Steamer. It's going to be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be games, but it's also going to be direct action, and it's also going to be direct action training and learning. It's also going to be help for veterans. We're going to do this by any means necessary. And now that the white-hot flame of righteousness is burning hotter and hotter in the hearts of black folks everywhere and white allies everywhere, you better be fucking glad we don't have real torches when we come through. As a matter of fact, I can't guarantee you that all of us won't. That's not a threat. That's a historical prediction. Good job, guys. Good job. The time to fight is now. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say Our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.